Hey everyone, welcome to episode 158 of the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, recorded on this July 15th, 2021. We're here to bring you all your DFFOO news and talk every single week. I'm your host, Mark, and I am joined tonight by my co-host. You know him and love him. His name is Mino. Mino, how are you doing?
Hey Mark, it's been weird. We've been off for what, 3 weeks in a row? That's like the longest hiatus the podcast has ever taken, I think.
Well,
And
we
yeah.
streamed last week. Um, But
Oh, right, right,
between
right.
official podcasts, it's been 3 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm up and down. Tired but excited. What about you?
yeah. Well, I've been in the city all day doing things, so just back and ready to talk DFFOO. Yeah, but yeah, we have the entire the entire month to talk about, so it has been a week. Yes. Where's Arrow? Arrow is with family, doing a family thing. So Arrow's not here. This is not quite the new format, but yes, we are going to be mixing things up. Mino's back on the show. Crease, as we said, she's taking some time off of the show. Still involved in the game, still playing, but wanted to step away from the show for a little bit. And so we are going to be changing some things as we move forward. This is just a format that I'm using tonight for me and Mino, but there will be some different formats moving forward as well, and we'll keep playing with this because I'm already not happy with the white background. Boomer, I was just talking to my wife as I was looking at my wife was texting with somebody. I'm like, why are you still using day mode on your phone? And she's like, what are you talking about? Like, you can switch it to night mode. It's much cooler. That's what all the kids are doing. And so yeah, there you go. So I feel like we gotta get a night mode working here on the thing because this is way too bright for us. But we are going to mix things up a little bit. And again, our goal here on the Crystal Chronicles 158 episodes, 158 weeks is to bring you your DFFOO news and talk. So we want to talk DFFOO. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. And we're your DFFOO talk show. That's what we are. We're not your infographics. We're not your boss guide. We're not your mom's boss guide. We're not your mom's DFFOO. I don't know what the hell that even anybody's mom play DFFOO. That'd be pretty cool. But no, we're the heartbeat of the community. That's what we are, and we're glad to be here. So, a couple things we got to talk about as we move into kind of the news of the day. First, this big thing happened a few weeks ago. This big thing happened several weeks ago. And that is we now are able to have 8 debuffs and 8 buffs. So exciting. I think we even had a question of it in podcast questions. Um, I'm almost positive we had a question in the uh, yeah, okay. Indolent Lard. Check out Indolent Lard on YouTube. Great content creator. With the recent addition of 8 debuff quality of life in GL, which debuffers are you going to use again? Awesome. Good question. I'm liking having a little bit more freedom in the debuffs, but I still feel like I would like more debuffs, like 1,000 debuffs all the time. So, Mino, how are you feeling about the 8 debuff quality of life? I haven't noticed anything with the buffs, but with the 8 debuff, especially anything you want to talk about with that? I know it was Eldnarsh cycles, so did you get uses out of all 8 buffs?
Yeah, it is. It's definitely easier to build. I don't know how like the really bad people like Ferris and Caius and Kefka handle, but I think Eldnar's is like most people have 2 to 3 framed debuffs, I believe. So unless in only in extreme cases are you going to have conflict. So it's a welcome change. I can't imagine them adding any more. Eight is a lot. Eight is great. You can stack a lot with eight. I know Belial's been having fun with eight. You know, he's stacking more than 100% down on some stats. I think he did a 150% eye brave down run on the whales, and eight is a lot. It's generous. I don't think.
You might say 8 is enough.
Yeah, I
Anybody?
don't think
Yeah.
they'll. I don't get the reference.
Didn't get the reference. Okay.
No, I didn't
Uh,
get the reference.
no, but there's a couple characters, Caius, Immediatilian, that are shooting on a whole bunch. But for the most part, hey Jake, thank you for the subscription. Little zombie guy on the screen. How exciting is that? Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Jake, and continue 17 months following us, supporting us. Everybody, you want to support us? That's a great way to do it on Twitch. With a sub on Twitch, whether it's Twitch Prime or a Tier 1 sub. But yeah, there's a lot less worry about it. Now, you can theory craft and, do what Belial's doing and, like, I brave down, M brave down, all that kind of fun stuff. But just in terms of not having to, like, overthink, although a couple times I've thought, like, oh, man, I shouldn't bring this call or I shouldn't bring that call. But for the most part, you're able to do a lot more without like really worrying about, oh crap, I can't bring this call or I can't bring this character because I only have 6 slots. And a lot of the buffs you might lose are going to be those generic buffs that you may not even really care about with some other characters. So it is a welcome change and I appreciate it for sure. Anything else on that?
Wow,
Martyr 25 got the reference. Yeah, you're very old. You're
what
very
is 8
old.
is enough?
8 is enough is an old TV show, an old sitcom about a family that had 8 kids, and that was enough.
Jesus Christ! You mean the Brady Bunch?
No, it was in that vein though.
You mean the what's that other movie with Steve Martin?
It had Dick Van Patten in it. You may know him from Spaceballs.
No.
Yeah, I don't know anybody else. It was a American television comedy drama series that ran from 77
Cheaper by
to
the
81.
dozen. Thank you, Joey.
Oh, cheaper by the dozen. There you go.
Dozen?
Yep, cheaper by.
That's what
No,
you're
I mean
talking
I
about.
literally mean 8 is enough. That is a title of a show. Cheaper by the dozen, also a show. But 8 is enough is an actual TV show. There you go. Just the 10 of us.
You mean?
Yeah, no, that's not what I meant. Seventh Heaven. No, it's not what I meant. Not another. Wow. Oh. Yeah. Hey, there are some costumes. So if you haven't picked up all reruns, Noel's costume, Leo's costume, Celeste's costume, and there are some special enhancement campaigns if you're really low on regular books, regular armor, and regular EX books and realization materials, not the high armor. We haven't had a high armor sale yet. We're going to talk about this, Squex. I don't get it. Why do you not want our money?
Does anybody know when it came out in JP? Because what it was when if it came out any sooner, I might have bought a few. Honestly, there were times where I'm like, oh, I wish I could mess with more characters.
Should have come out day one.
Yeah, like
No
because the weapon ingots came out day one.
Yep, should have come out day one.
They bumped them up 6 months plus. They're waiting so long to the point that I don't want them anymore. Honestly, if they came out earlier when it was a scarcer resource, I would have bought a couple.
So
but
this is whale talk. So shut up and listen. The adults are talking. No, but seriously, like, so there are some new bundles. There are the normal bundles, but there are some new bundles when it comes to the enhancement. So EX realization materials and regular armor realization materials. But I mean, at this point, even if you're a brand new player, right? Even if you're a brand new player, there's so much of this crap in lost chapters and just regular game that, I mean, do you really need it? Like, I'm trying to find some of the special deals. There's the 7-day summer, power tokens. You're going to get some power tokens. There you go. Some of the special ones that were there. There's the regular enhancement, marvelous chests, EX power orbs. That one's just the power orbs. What were the special ones? And maybe it's the festive mithril here. Festive Anomander chest. So yeah, the festive chests. Yeah, no, these are just upgrade materials, armor. Yeah, armor tokens. But there were some special book ones, and so even as a new player, are you really pistachios? Do you really need books and for your EXs and your armor and ingots at this point. Certainly, if you've been playing a year, you don't. But even as a brand new player, there's so much. I mean, you're going to take Tifa through half those lost chapters, and you're going to start getting all of these pages and nuggets. So, like day one, when high armor realization was a thing, why don't we have a book sale and a nugget sale, ingot sale right there? Day one, when BT Plus, like, if there's not a BT Plus book sale and ingot sale, seriously, I mean, you're just like, do you just hate money? I don't understand. Like, you don't have to buy it. I get it. But I want this game to do well, and it seems like a no-brainer from a marketing perspective. Again, I think, Summer Tifa probably would have been a no-brainer too. It's not my call. I just want the game to make a little bit of money. I know all you weebs would have bought the Summer Tifa costume without even thinking about it. $100, you all would have bought it. No problem, right? So we want Squex. This is going to happen a few times tonight. Squex, if you're listening, we want you to have our money. There just ain't anything to spend the money on right now. Thank you, VL. Appreciate that. There's just nothing to spend the money on. Yeah, it was Cloud of Darkness costume I think we're all going to buy, yeah. But we've already talked about the Moogle Pass kind of losing value. Obviously, if you get the premium Moogle Pass, you still get the EX tokens and the BT tokens. But the normal Moogle Pass, if you've caught up on all your arts, if you've caught up on all your summon board grinding, yeah, I mean, it's going to come a time when you're not even going to really need it. So they got to get a little bit more inventive. So anything else on that, Mino?
I mean, we're gonna delve into it later. I don't. We talked a bit before the show. I understand some of your complaints. I don't agree with all of them, but I do agree that you're right. There needs to be more things to spend money on, and that could be a thing. I know a lot of people in chat are rolling their eyes now, right?
Yeah,
Whale talk, but no, really, like. It's pretty hard to whale in this game, right?
it
I,
is.
but I mean, okay, so before we get into it though, I'm just saying like, look, Square Enix has like 20, 30 mobile games out in the market. Not all of them have a global version.
Right.
I really think DFFOO is trying to hit the more casual like audience that wouldn't spend on the big whale games like Brave Exvius or Record
Yeah.
Keeper. Like the real or War of the Visions is a huge whale game.
Oh,
Like
man.
realistically, no one's gonna whale on multiple games, I think. So I really think maybe DFFO is just aiming for that lower tier audience.
I know, but free money is free money. I mean, like, why don't you want to make some money? The opportunity, like you said, the opportunity to spend, because you can potentially whale on this game and get every weapon in the game. That's really the only way to whale right now, is to try to get enough resources to get every weapon in the game, and you can do that without much problem, especially if you've been a consistent player since Guaranteed Pity. Yeah,
At least like
that is a cheat. Yeah, go
he makes
ahead.
a great point. He's like, the only thing you can really do if you pay real money is build a nest egg of resources,
Right.
which is like how people are capping on the BT tokens all the time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Eamon's is saying War of Vision is a pretty crazy whale game. Obviously, FFB can be a pretty whale game. FFRK, a little bit less so, but still could be a pretty big whale game. But yeah, and that's, I mean, even as a free player, so all the free players, who are listening, free to play, by the way, that's fine. You should want people like me who want to spend money on the game to be able to spend money on the game and then create a superior product, right? Doesn't guarantee that would happen. But it also guarantees perhaps that the game will continue on, because if it's not making any money, there won't be a game, right? So, just investing more money doesn't mean a better product, because look at half the games that make all kinds of money. They're not necessarily a better product. We have a pretty good product here, I believe, but there seems to be some no-brainers. And I think, the high armor books and ingots, the BT books and ingots, those resources that are even character points, that's a weird gate in this game for a new player. So have a character point bundle here's 100,000 character points, maybe not 100,000. Here's 25,000 character points, right? 4.99. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's meaningless to us. But obviously, you get the pass. But hey, to even have a little bit of a starter bundle, like yeah, I only pay for the premium pass. You better believe it. But even like a starter bundle, like it's here so much. You get all your armor tokens, weapon tokens. Just kind of to I pulled for a new character, and here's everything I need to upgrade them. Character board points, all that kind. You just have that kind of stuff available. I just don't. It seems simple. It seems if I was in the marketing department, I'd be thinking about this kind of thing. I understand they got all kind of analytics, and we're going to talk more about that later. But I don't know. Hey, there were rewards though, so more free stuff for us, more gems for you, more tickets. I figured out. I went back and looked over the last year, the entire last year. I have spent on average 750 tickets a month. And so that's not gems. Like you can't buy more tickets, right? Like that's free resources. So like going through my gems doesn't. I mean, yeah, I'm not getting that many extra gems a month comparatively because the stuff I buy is not huge in gems. Like what 4,900 for the Moogle Pass and 9,000 for a occasional ticket here and there. But 750 tickets is a lot. Like I mean, it's. To think 750 free single pulls plus a daily single pull, that's almost 800 single pulls plus all the free multis, plus at least enough gems to pity a banner a month, if not more. That's a lot of free resources. So thank you, Squex, for that. I figured out I started probably with 1,500 tickets last year. I had about 1,500 tickets kind of stored away, but I still have over 1,000 tickets just because I'm around 900 right now, just in my normal ticket count. So yeah, about 750 a month. It's crazy. Spend those resources. Pull. What are you waiting for? Hey, well, let's transition from the news of the day to kind of a recap of some of the stuff we've missed. We're not going to go through all the characters and all the Lufanius because that's boring. But let's hit a few highlights. First of all was the Squex Community Mobile Stream. Just the highlight of our month. Squex Joshua and Squex Crystal bring us all the great co-ops. I can't wait. Maybe they'll do this co-op for the next month. Probably now be Transcendence co-op, which will also be painful. But they did a couple things I want to talk about. I'm so angry. I'm not. I'm so happy. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad all of you are with us. It's so fun to be here. But Joshua did mention the Kadaj bug, quote unquote, that somebody did in chat say, hey, what's going on with Kadaj? Is this EX working well? Is it not? And Joshua did express about basically saying, I've received the feedback and I've passed that along to the dev team. So and that's what the community manager can do. Nothing wrong there. Oh, we're going to talk about the co-op. Oh. Hang on, folks. We're going to talk about the co-op. Oh. So at this point, my thought is Kadaj is how Kadaj is, and Kadaj ain't getting changed anytime soon. Mino, any thoughts on Kadaj?
Not really. It sucks.
Yeah.
And I understand it. Like Jin Lee really upset. I think he pitied Kadaj and he was mad. And then BC and I were talking about, I think that in the mod chat, I think BC was like, if I had pulled Kadaj, I'd be raising a fucking ruckus, right?
Yeah.
Because, I pulled for this character and it's not working as intended, quote unquote, not working as
Yeah.
intended. Because the big deal in the stream was Josh is like, we reported it, but for all we know, it could be working as intended, which is
Right.
such a cop-out answer. But that's the job, right? When you're PR, you can't really admit fault. So I get it. But like on the one hand, I understand why people are upset. But on the other hand, as I also told BC from from well, I was playing fighting games again today, and I was like, why does my character have to press 4 times as many buttons as your character to win?
Yeah.
And my friend said, well, you chose this life. No, he said nobody made you play this character.
That's right.
So I'm saying like while I understand it sucks to invest into a character, possibly even real money to do it, the sad fact is that not every character is going to be great,
Yeah.
and Kadaj is particularly also a character that was known to not be super great. So I don't think too many people pulled. I think it's the big hipsters like BC said, like I didn't pull, but if I did, like maybe I'd be upset. And I'm just saying, like you can't always win, right? Like if Sarah didn't get the early GL rework, that would have been a dud and waste of resources as well, right? It's so a little cynical, but to me that's just part of the game.
Well, when Kadaj gets his BT and BT plus, I think it'll make up for it. So that investment. Oh yeah, all three Kadaj fans are
He's
real
like,
real
I'd be
upset.
yeah. BC says I'd be loud, but it looks like Kadaj fans are just rolling over. Well, how many people pulled Kadaj and are upset about it? Because honestly,
Yeah.
I've only seen Kadaj runs in the TCC Discord, and I visit like half a dozen Discords a day, and I don't see anybody else running Kadaj or talking about Kadaj. So I think it's really just the hardcore hipsters that are super that are super trying to push Kadaj through things.
I've made it clear I love Advent Children. I like Kadaj. I have Kadaj. I have him fully outfitted. I used him in his time, and yeah, I probably won't use him again. And so it goes. Like no harm, no foul. It sucks, but I think yeah, we move on with our life. And at this point, I would not be hoping or wishing on a star, but maybe it's going to happen. But yeah, obviously something's wrong. His EX is not charging like all the other EXs, which means likely something's wrong. But if it gets fixed, who knows? The other big
Funny
thing.
answer. Sorry, it's a funny
No.
answer that it's like for all we know it could be working as intended.
Yeah. No.
Because if it was intended,
Mm,
that just means they hate Kadaj
yeah.
and they don't want him to work like a normal character. So, oh, and while I'm at it, have you guys noticed something's happening in the game? I feel like the quality inspection is a lot lower in this game, and I posted the screenshots in the mod chat. I don't know if you saw it, but have you guys in chat noticed that we're getting Google Translate translations for the new characters?
Oh yeah.
Like if you look at Kadaj and Iroha's passives and especially artifacts, we're literally that's what you would get if you Google translated Ultima, right? Like
Yeah.
instead of like Mighty Mayhem for Kadaj, now it's like Mayhem Power and it's like Mayhem Extend and it's like
Yeah.
Mayhem Up. And instead of charged Mayhem, it's Mayhem Charge and it's Mayhem Quit like fast instead of quick like I don't understand how this happens. How is the translation getting worse when we already have the format in place and it's like you just copy paste, right? But we're somehow I don't know, man. The quality assurance of this game seems to be going downhill lately.
Well,
That's
and
just
they could complain about it not making enough money, but they also don't give us any opportunity to spend money on it. So there you go. I mean, hire somebody and yeah, I'll aboard Genshin because Lord knows that's a generous gotcha game. Uh, you get one pull every 6 months, and then you probably won't get the character you want. Welcome to Genshin. I'll be playing Genshin this weekend. Thanks, Squex. It is a pretty game and it plays a lot better on PC, that's for sure. Yeah, it is not generous at all. It is the antithesis of generosity. Hey, speaking of generous, at the end of the stream, Joshua said that we all need to look forward to August Squex community stream. So obviously that means we're going to get a GL first. Mino, who do you think that's going to be?
yeah. See again. I don't like to speculate. It drives the community wild, but
I love it.
fuck, dude, I don't know who isn't out yet. General Leo or something. Like, I guess he's probably like the last person to get anything at this point.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
I'm not gonna speculate.
yeah. There's 20. What did I count? 23 units. That was before the announcement of the units for this coming month in Japan. So I think less than 20 units without LDs in Japan right now. Black Cloud Stripe Black Nero on YouTube says July was so exciting that we should be already thinking about August. Yeah, it's always a good when you get months like this. Sorry, folks, this month sucks, but next month's gonna be great. And that does happen from time to time, but but why does this month suck? This is Eldnarsh Lael, and there's all kinds of good stuff. Oh yeah, War of the Visions did have a little bit of little issue with the law there, as are many gotchas. So don't play any of those games. Play DFFOO, spend more money, give us more things to spend. So kind of going, this last cycle we had 2 story chapters. We had a lost chapter, story chapter, Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 1 and 2, and then Ash Lost Chapter. Did you read the story? It was an Eldnarsh story, right? So that should have been exciting. Eldnarsh and Iroha. It was feudal Japan versus Neo Tokyo. A weird Final Fantasy 13-2 Crystal Bears Final Fantasy 11 crossover.
I don't know. I just know it was supposed to be paying tribute to Iroha's story, where they gather all the other FF11 heroines, and then Power of Friendship or something.
That is. If you're not aware of the Final Fantasy 11 Iroha storyline, it is literally My Little Pony, and she gathers, or I mean, that's kind of the story of Sailor Moon too, right? We gather the powers, and then the elements come together, and it's friendship. That's magic, and so that's literally the story. I watched a cutscene from Final Fantasy 11, the Iroha cutscene, where the main character, with the help of magic or crystals or something, literally summons all the princesses. Lilizette and Prish, and who are the other princesses? Lion, all the other, the Final Fantasy 11 princesses. And they, with the power of friendship, they defeat the thing, and then you have to go and defeat the thing and save Iroha. It's all very exciting. And then, so it was what it was. And somebody got their, I don't even remember who got their memory back at this point. It was such a weird conglomeration of characters, because you had the Final Fantasy 13-2 cast, and then Final Fantasy 11 cast, and then the Crystal Bears cast for some reason was there without really explaining what they had to do with anything. So 3 games I am not particularly familiar with. All in one story chapter. How exciting. Who did get their memory back, Pikachu? I don't remember at all who got their memory back. Was it Lightning? Was it all the 13 characters got their memory backs, right? I don't remember. What happened? Pikachu, please tell me. Check out Pikachu games on YouTube. Who got their memory back? It's not me, obviously. I'm over the hill. I don't have any memory. Yep, no, Pikachu doesn't remember either. Oh, goodness. So that happened. But we got some new characters. Eldnarsh, Noel, Ash, Strago, Iroha. I got Eldnarsh Noel. Eldnarsh does his thing. I think Eldnarsh is way, way underrated. Man, he locks down things. He locks down things real smooth with his BT. He's, really, really solid. But yeah, you're basically playing chess with yourself, and the boss doesn't act, and that's okay. It's a type of way to play the game. But I enjoyed it the few times I used him here. I don't think it's something I'm going to use over and over again. I know you're talking about that. You can talk about that a little bit. Noel, I think, if you want to invest in Noel, he can do a lot of good stuff. He's a definitely good character. Strago, again, if you want to invest in his armor, he's doing great damage. I don't think you probably should at this point, because armor's so.
Run through the characters one by one?
I was just So Eldnarsh.
Let's rapid fire. I mean, shit, dude. We didn't talk about these characters at all, but I talked about them so much on like
Yeah.
ranting hour and off stream, so I don't remember what points I wanted to make at this point. Holy crap, we really are like coming back from a slump. Uh, even the viewer count needs to catch up. But all right, let's see. Rapid fire. Eldnarsh is the lockdown character ever. Like all other characters with HP silence and paralyze, it's temporary and in bursts. Eldnar's is the only character who can do it the entire fight. BT's nothing to write home about. It gives everybody that debuff thing where they do 10% more brave damage per debuff on the target. It is nice, but it's not worth it. But it super extends his ability to lock down.
Yeah.
Right? Like not only does it refresh the all his buffs again and lets them last for like double the duration after the BT effect, it doesn't tick down. But if you really ever need that big of a lockdown, you can do it. I don't know how many people want this. Obviously, I've seen people have mixed results. A lot of people using Elden Arch, there's like a difference of 40 turns.
Mm.
Uh, but I have seen people use Eldnarsh in like the latest event
Yeah.
and just not want to deal with attacks. It's very valid. I use it on my initial clear as well because I didn't figure out how the mechanic worked until later, which you can talk about. That's it for Eldnarsh. Noel, what are your thoughts on Noel?
Yeah, Drew Zane has a question. Should you use warp during his, or should you avoid using warp during his BT phase to extend terror? There's also a thing if you use his AA before you go into a burst, and then you use his LD, you can't refresh the LD afterwards because every time you refresh the LD, as long as his BT buff is active, you won't be reapplying a buff, and so you won't get his BT buff. It's not a huge problem, but
And as I pushed back on Ink and Jin has admitted it too, because I remember they were talking about it on Fireside. He's like, "Oh, Ink brought up this thing," and I was like, "No, Jin, that's just Eldnarsh. No, that really is just Eldnarsh, guys. Like,
yeah,
he doesn't get his thing if he can't debuff,
yeah,
and when he AAs, it doubles the duration of his debuffs. So even if you weren't in burst phase, and let's say you AA and you apply your buffs, then your AA drops and you throw out your attacks again. Yeah, it's not refreshing
right.
because like that's just a norm. I disagree with Ink. I don't think it was a special thing needed to be mentioned. That's any character who needs to apply anything.
Well, you just have to be careful about when you're pressing his LD, right? Exactly, and know that you need to be able to reapply the debuffs.
Um, so to answer Drusane's question, should you avoid warp during the BT to extend his terror? I think you're overthinking it. I don't know, man. Just don't use Eldnarsh is the better answer.
Yeah, that's probably the best answer. Don't
I
use
hate this
Eldar.
character so
Don't use
much.
Eldar.
I hate this character so much. Noel, your thoughts?
Yeah, Noel. I mean, Noel seems pretty smooth. Obviously, with a lot of characters this month, we're kind of in this weird in between era. So we've had some really powerful characters here over the last few months, and we're gonna get some really powerful characters. And so, if you really want to invest in some of these characters, they're going to be great. But you're probably not going to be investing in them. Noel, I think, does his job. J.A says Noel is amazing. I think Noel does his job really well. Break, rebreaks. He's got decent damage. Does he need to do anything else? No. He's not carrying anybody, but if you like that kind of gameplay and you like the character, you're going to get use out of him. Obviously, if you fully invest in him, he's going to do a little bit more damage, like Strago. But I don't know,
Yeah.
just kind of a middle of the road character, in my opinion. Has some good utility though, if you're looking for that in your roster.
Yeah, I guess for me, well, first of all, Eamon's saying I have trouble keeping attention, and Eldnarsh fucking sucks to play because of that. I don't pay attention, and I keep legit dropping terror. Eamon's
Oh, that
that sounds like
explains
a
it.
personal problem.
Yeah, that explains a
I
lot.
don't see how your attention fading has to do with the character. But yeah, Null is your most consistent breaker, period. Unbreaks, rebreaks, instant breaks. He has the most of them. They are the most on demand. In theory, it's nice. Not my play style. and I feel like his damage is not quite a DPS, as in he does need somebody else to carry him a little bit. A
Well,
little.
he's just I mean, again, I mean it's at this point we're comparing everybody to Blue Tifa, Blue Armor Tifa, and that's not particularly fair, right? Because my Null's not blue armor, so but his damage output is not his damage output is not Tifa at all. But he does need, as Black Cloud Stripe says, he does need to be buffed to the sun or be a third
It's
slot
weird
character.
because so like Strago has the breaks too, not as well as Null. Null's king of breaks, but Strago brings a lot more damage. Like I would consider Strago a DPS.
Yeah,
It's a very arbitrary measurement right now, but I would say a DPS should be able to hit around 200k a turn if they want to. Null is not hitting that. Not close. Um I like even BC played him a lot in JP, and VC saying, yeah, he's not gonna be a DPS. He either needs to be buffed to that sun or be a third slot. Right. So you would only really be bringing him purely for breaks. But is it like overkill on the breaks?
yeah.
Could you bring somebody else who has less consistent breaks, like Aranea or Strago or something, and still, like
Yeah.
supplement it somewhere else? So I mean, I'm curious how J Dota's doing with Null, but like it's not something I super like.
But right, I mean, if you have somebody at this point, somebody like Null, and you really like him, Null's your favorite character because you like Final Fantasy 13 too, then yeah, I mean, you can fully invest in him, and you're going to get a lot of use out of him if you build around him, everything else. But yeah, you're not just it's not Tifa, right? You're not just bringing the damage. It's not Aranea in her era. It may not even be Strago, in terms of just out damage, or even Garland in terms of delaying and re-breaking. No's not delaying, but he's breaking and re-breaking. Has that effect. So yeah. So I mean. Yeah, BC is saying there's not really a lot of utility to the breaks outside of some rare cases.
Yeah, it's if you like the
Delay
style, you
immunity.
like the style. The only thing I can objectively say is the most consistent breaker, period. But personally, not something I'm looking to use. You done on Null? Move on to
Yeah,
Ash. All right, let's go. Ash, your thoughts.
Ash is trash. I hate her. Stupid.
And yeah, I knew that was coming. Go
Just
ahead.
why not use Cryle? I don't know. Why not use Paladin Cecil? We have other characters who do everything she does. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She can charge everyone's EX instantly. That's awesome. So, good luck. I'm looking forward to all those Ash runs 2 months from now. Good luck. I love it. All the you people who Ash is where your very beautiful favorite character, just because of that art on the original poster in your GameStop when you were 6 years old, or let me be fair, 12 years old, 13 years old. You saw that poster and you're like, Ash is my favorite character. And then you played the game and you're like, I don't even remember what the hell her story is. And
Jesus
she's
Christ.
fine. No, she's fine. And her
Mark is so
awful
angry today.
her awful LC mechanic that really wanted you to do those that double enchant. Yeah, so she's a double enchant impaler, which we don't have a lot of, and so that's cool. So if you don't have a lot of enchant and peril, she's great. I mean, if you don't have either of these characters and you're catching up on content, great banner. If you are not needing to catch up on content and you have a lot of options, and Inkwelder's argument was, oh, well, she covers a lot. She covers a lot. She covers a lot of orbs. I don't. That's not a great argument to me. She covers some orbs, yes, but yeah, 2 months, 3 months from now, you're going to bring Ash over whoever else is going to cover those same orbs. So I don't know. I don't have her. So that automatically means she's bad because that's a very limited number of characters.
Polar? Damn.
um, but she does what she does. She does a lot, right? She does tick a lot of boxes. She ticks Enchant and Peril, double Enchant and Peril, which is really nice. Holy Thunder. She does Paralyze. She does, healing, she does battery, she does party buff, she does EX charge. I mean, she does a lot of fun things. And so if you need some of that stuff on your team, great. There's no problem with it. Um, I don't think she's necessary, and I didn't get her. I didn't even pull on the banner. Did you get her? And have you used her?
I got her. I haven't used her. Um, it's only been one event, so I don't really super want to
Yeah.
pass judgment already. But so Ash is what I'd call a hard support because she definitely is not performing solo in a vacuum. She's not performing up to snuff of units right now, but she can buff her other two companions to crazy levels. So as a hard support, you really need some crazy, crazy, crazy people to pair. Like it's like Iroha, which we're gonna get to in a
Yeah.
second too, right? Like Iroha and Ash are hard supports. They're only as good as the team they're in. They're only as good as how much they can boost their allies because Ash's personal damage is bad. I don't know how much people realize what her max brave is outside of synergy. It is let's just say in her own event in synergy, non-synergy units have more max brave than she does. And that's in her synergy event. Uh like they try to balance it out to make her a support. Like her brave shave is pretty good because she gets weakness damage bonus. She should always be hitting weakness with the double enchant and peril. She's got a lot of hits. She's this weird character that can brave shave really well, but her personal HP damage is pretty fucking dookie. And she does a bunch of things, but again, like Iroha, it's her power is so dependent on her team, right? Like someone in chat is saying oh, here we go. Pikachu Game says Ash is the answer to Kadaj and his EX charging issue.
It is
But why
true.
would you put two
But
bad
then you have
characters
two
on a
bad
team?
characters.
Yeah, like then then they're both dragging each other down,
It's
right?
a
It's
terrible,
like the
terrible team.
crab theory in the bucket where the crabs are just like pinning each other to the fucking floor. Um
Yeah,
I
why not bring two good characters that work and do two things?
Ash is gonna I think Ash is gonna have a lot more utility going forward than say like Null.
Yeah,
But
right.
I do
People
not think.
people are going to use Ash on Transcendence 3. So,
Yeah, yeah,
more
yeah,
and
yeah.
any character you use on Transcendence 3 is an investment, right? So, good on
I
you.
guess.
But yeah, encouraging, really encouraging any of these, regardless of all the hot takes this month, and there have been tons of hot takes this month. This has been a good month to maybe recover some resources for people as we move into some pretty hyped characters, maybe overhyped characters, and then a new era of BT plus, and so you know,
Yeah, addressing chat, but I'll finish. It's just like I do think Ash can be used for a while. I've seen Ash be used for a while. I'm sure there are some big brains out there who can use Ash in some really good teams. But it's just not my flavor. Strafe wants to compare Ash to Pestle. Pestle has much bigger heals. He has much bigger defense because he has brave damage and HP damage reduction for the entire party. He has overheals
he's
and
got he's got a sea sphere on his
yeah,
armor,
yeah, he has
and
a
he's
C
gonna get
sphere.
he's
So
gonna
you
get his
can,
blue
so
armor.
you,
You can sea
yes,
sphere that blue armor with his sphere.
yeah.
That's top shelf. Does Ash have a sea
Yeah,
sphere
yeah,
with blue
yeah.
armor? I don't know.
Pestle battery is a
Probably
lot
does.
harder, and HP damage, 30% HP damage up is just a huge difference, right? Because what Ash is mostly doing, the double enchant is for brave shaving, but that's not always going to be helpful for HP damage across the board. So I'm not sure how hard Strafe is arguing for this, but I know this was a comparison that was brought up when Ash released, which I don't like, which is basically get I think BC said BC and Eamon because Eamon's like Ash is great and Eamon's is like but that's because I didn't get Pestle. Right, like I like even if Pestle's damage isn't good, first of all, he's a much older unit,
Yeah.
so he has that going for him.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's,
he has a BT, uh, and
yeah.
he does a lot more. than Ash. People are arguing for her turn manipulation and her paralyzed. It's nice. It's condition. It's not on demand. You have to LD then HP plus, so it's not like on demand like Ignis or Rem or some or like Onion Knight, right? Where they just have to press a button. It happens. There's limited uses. I wouldn't play around it. I was actually really, you know what, guys? Prove me wrong right now. I was actually hoping that Ash's turn manipulation would be key in the current TCC challenge because I was like, because
I haven't
everyone
seen
knows,
it.
yeah, everyone knows the gimmick to this fight. They jump turns, so it's hard to get a full launch, and you need to get like
Oh,
1500. I
there's
mean,
an
150 damage.
there is an Ash run.
Okay, good. What is it?
Liz, Liz. I think has probably the most interesting run right now. Um, Liz did Ramza, Ash, and Mog with a Lael
Oh, that's
friend.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's a great
good.
run. Yeah, it's a great run.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's a very
So
good run.
I'll just have Macnell delete that later. Scott
Yeah.
Ong saying Liz Lissette did it already. You
Yep.
do it then, Scott Ong. Show me. You do it. Uh,
Yep.
Ash will get a BT2, J Dota says. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that might be a stretch.
yeah. Ben says the only other dual element is Garnet. It's true,
Yeah.
but it's like it's hard, guys. Like we always say there's the character and then there's the character in context.
Yeah.
And it's how often do you really need that double imperil while she's hot?
And again,
As
it's
opposed
Inkwelder, you know, and Eamon was doing the same thing. You know, this kind of theory crafting about their utility, and that's fine. You know, looking ahead, seeing orbs, you know, theory crafting the utility is one thing, but again, the majority of you aren't using characters from 3 months ago, right? I mean, it's just
GRW18 is correcting me on a couple things. Pestle has 20% HP damage up. Let's get that correction out there. That's my fault. Iggy isn't on demand. You gotta wait for his EX. Yeah, what I meant to say, it's a little more on demand than Ashes because Ashes is tied to the LD, which is flat 4
really
uses. 3?
no. I was saying yes. Somebody saying I still use pencil. Yeah. So yeah, of
No,
course
yeah,
we
so GR,
everybody
what I
is
meant
great.
was Ignis's turn manipulation is more on demand than Ash's because the EX is up more and you can manipulate EXs, et cetera, et cetera. Ash has a flat count and it's not Ignis has to press a button, Ash has to press two in sequence. Um
Yeah, but so yeah, so you know you're talking about Paladin Cecil. Oh, we've been using Paladin Cecil, not on everything. We've been using Ramza. Not who. How many of you have been using Ramza all this time? Uh, but is Ash going to be that kind of character that you're going to use well into the BT Plus era? That's what we're talking about, folks. And we're going to talk about more in here in a little
yeah.
bit. We're transitioning into a new era.
Yeah.
And
Um
is that who you're going to spend resource? Not if you got Ash, great, get all the characters. That's what I always say. Pull on everything, get everything, then you don't worry about it. But we're transitioning now, and so this month has kind of characters that are great. None of them are bad. All the characters this month are fine, and very useful. But are they going to be characters that are going to carry you into another era when you're really strapped for resources, when you could save, do elsewise? So just get over the fact that your choices are bad, and you should listen to us because we are smarter than you.
I won't go as hard as Mark, but I do want to move on for the sake of time, so we can talk about this more in the post show, guys. Hang out in the post show. That's always the open discussion. But the last two things before we move on off of Ash, and then continue our show. Sorry, guys, we're just keeping with the pacing here. But Infamous said Ignis EX up often. I don't know about that, son. You're gonna be spamming skills with Ignis. Well, you're right. Both characters suck then.
True.
So they can both take the
You're not
L.
using Higgy either.
Yeah, they can both take the L. And
You're going to be using Kurisame's call ability to enchant imperil.
yeah. And then
You're not going to have an enchant
says
imperiler.
CSDX says, I don't know when this was said. There might be a misunderstanding. He's saying use on everything is a bad standard. because I think you said you're not going to use Ash on everything. I don't know what you said, but CSDX says, what kind of characters are useful? How often do we need anything really? When we
Exactly.
get to Lael, honestly, I
Don't
think
pull on anything.
Lael is an example of a very versatile kit that's going to work in a lot of situations when we
Yeah.
get there. There are kits out there that are super versatile. Like, let's not lie,
Like
right?
Paladin
Like,
Cecil and
yeah,
Ramza.
Paladin Cecil,
Those are
Gladio,
very versatile
Ramza.
kids.
There actually are a good number of kits out there that you could
Uh-oh.
bring to any other
Stop the
like team.
presses.
God damn it.
Stop the presses. CSAM used the Q&A. Do you doubt Ash's EX recharge utility with units like Aroha and Garland? I am interested to see it manifest in ways that are awesome. So if you can show me out of synergy a month from now, 2 months from now, how Ash is still making that gimmick really, really great, because that's her one gimmick that is super unique, right? That one gimmick super unique. I do think there's possibility, and I think somebody's probably going to figure it out. You all are creative. You're awesome. I love this community and how creative you are. So make it happen. We joke about it all the time, but we love it when you prove us wrong. And neither of us is saying Ash is bad. I think she is somebody you can skip over and not worry about it at all. And that's not every unit. There are characters we've said, don't skip over this unit. You're going to want this unit. But
And yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we broke that fucking open, look, we're gonna move on after this. All right. First of all, there's certain things I feel like we have to constantly remind
Well,
people.
Drew's saying, because I fucking hate Ash. She's trash. That
Yeah,
has nothing
yeah,
to do with her
yeah,
kit.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
hate her on purpose, and I've explained
Yes,
many
and
times.
that's what I want to. That's what I want to
why
tell
I hate her.
CSDX for his question too. First, CSAM. Let me answer CSAM's Q&A. Is, do you doubt Ash's E? I already said I think there are going to be people who make big brain plays with Ash. Like, it is a niche enough kit, and I pulled just to have it in my pocket. It's a very interesting. I like unique gimmicks, right? And you're right. Like, certain EXs, certain pairings, it's going to be very cool. Just. And then, but to tie that into what I want to say to CSDX, which he's saying having a deep roster you can pull from, even if you don't constantly use, makes the game fun. We shouldn't be looking at units just on, how much we use them. Uh, I hate that we have to say this every month or so, but to reiterate at least how I evaluate characters on this show, personally speaking. I don't know. Mark and Arrow can do their own thing, but there are like, we advise based on, if you're a new player, you can only pull this one character. Is this guy going to carry you? We just got out of a hell month. It is a real stance in this game that players who are looking for help want to know which pulls will give them the most for their mileage. Experts like you, CSDX, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You're a TCC challenge like veteran, right? Like, you're gonna make shit work. You don't need our advice. You don't need us to tell you who's good. You're gonna make it work. But for very new incoming players like Amons, who needs help building his roster, because we've all seen his streams these past 2 weeks, right, guys? And like, these are the ones who need to know where they're, because like, he quit last time because he invested full in Golbez, and then
Right.
Golbez didn't last. So like, when Mino is on the podcast, he is being objectively evaluating characters for people who can only pull one fucking character a month and who can get the most mileage out of it. All right. Like, I said, Eldnarsh is a shit character no one should play. I have used Eldnarsh so many fucking times. I'm sick of him. And
Yeah.
I love Eldnarsh, and I, was willing to pity his BT. All right. Let's divide everyone. All right. Reset. Get this clear. Mark said it too. Like, the whole Ash is trash thing. Let's divide an objective analysis versus how much we actually like the character, and move on.
Yeah, and so the Max is saying people you just described aren't ever going to hear this. Now, to be fair, now listen, I bet the majority of you who are live with us,
Who said that? Amons is right here.
Yeah, the majority of people who are on our Discord, great play. Not everybody. There's new players. There's people who are learning everything else. But, we podcast this out, and the majority of people who are listening to our podcast are more casual people. And that may be, I have people talk to me all the time saying, this is the only source of DFO information I get. And so, yeah, so I mean, we do try to be a little bit more cautious. Even though, I mean, I go out of my way to say, listen, yeah, I pull on everything and I like to have a deep roster and everything else. But if I'm comparing Ash Strago, which is a strong potential banner, with a banner like Lael Kais with a much better BT than the Elnarsh BT, yeah, what's a better big investment and what's going to get you through more content backwards and forwards for a while? Those are things you think about. So again, it is what it is. And take everything. This is our opinion. This is a talk show. That's what we do. But I have a personal vendetta against Ash, and I've explained that
Can
many
we please
times, and you
stop
get it.
talking about Ash
So
now? I hate you guys.
Strago is a big fat blue mage guy, and he does damage. So I actually learned to play Strago a little bit better this time around. I never really got a hold of how to play him quite in the last era, the first time his LD came around, and so this with his LD boards, I felt much more confident. And okay, that's how he plays. I can see if you had invested in his blue armor, that his damage would be decent. But again, as somebody saying, CSAM, when you have damage dealers like Tifa that are just inappropriate right now, and we know we have some bigger damage dealers, it kind of sucks. But he is doing the break mechanics, and he's much easier to play, or at least I understand how to play him a little bit better now. You can keep that buff up pretty much the entire run. He's pretty good at keeping his stuff kind of moving. So, but yeah, he's doing consistent good damage, consistent good AOE damage. It's pretty simple to play. I mean, I think once you get a handle of him, he's fine. But if you want to really do the most damage, you have to invest his blue armor, and that sucks right now because we have limited resources. I mean, I have one blue armor. I don't know what you are, but I have one blue armor, and I think I've booked maybe 2 or 3 other ones, and I think I could get maybe one more blue armor, right? And that's just, man, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. So, yeah, if I had enough books to do everybody, hey, I think it'd be fun to have Strago do things, but I blew Tifa like everybody else. So, thoughts on Strago?
Uh, Now we're getting to some more universally useful characters. Strago is somebody no, it's weird. I got Strago the first time, and going through some of the hardest fights, he really pulled his weight. You saw him in the community a lot. Strago the first time around had staying power for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so even though I had him, it never occurred to me to use him, but I was always like, oh man, like I appreciate it. But right now, currently, he's my go-to character if I need instant breaks. Like if any fight were to come up right now needing instant breaks, I would
Yeah.
choose him over Null or Trey,
Mm.
etc. Even though I think BC advised me to use Trey on something
Yeah. Trey's still
earlier,
real good
and
to use
it
that.
was still amazing. Yeah, it was still really good. But but like Strago brings just easy firepower with that. Somebody in chat said that Strago seems very underwhelming with Tifa on the board. As Mark said, if you're willing to invest the blue armor, Strago's damage is comparable.
Yeah.
On 2 targets, it's competitive. On 3 targets, he can win. I know, obviously, we're not going to get a lot of 3-target fights, but
Yeah.
on
If
2
we did.
targets, on 2 comparable, and you get the break safety, and you can pull some bullshit shenanigans, right? Because he always double dumps. So, Iroha and some others, like you can make shit happen. His DPS holds up for sure up to Lufania plus if you invest in the blue armor. But again, it's always, do you want to invest in the blue armor?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. And then Iroha, and I did get her LD on a free daily, but I've not invested in her, so I know her gimmick is interesting. Um, her animations are fun. What are your thoughts on her, Mino?
Um, hmm.
You have her, right?
Yes. Again, it's only been one event, so I don't want to pass judgment too early. I will say I have found a lot of fun using her, and as I predicted, she's going to be a TCC Challenge champion
Oh yeah.
because the latest TCC Challenge sees a lot of Irohas.
Oh,
Like,
and Fujin. So great.
yeah, well, Fujin's got lucky this
Hey,
month,
I
man.
was just saying I hyped Fujin as a TCC Challenge champion.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
yeah, there you go.
And with the recent fights, and I don't know how long this will carry on, but the recent fights have been like a little weirder on mechanics, which we'll get to. I want to get to. Um, People are like, why would I use Iroha when I can just battery? It's very different, and I've noticed that you reach the same point just differently, right? Well, it depends. You get some defense too. But for example, I've seen people run the recent fights with Sarah and Iroha interchangeably. And it's like, yeah, Sarah can get a big fat battery, so the next time you start your turn, boom, you've got a big hit. But Iroha sort of does the same thing, just keeps it consistent. The 20% discount is really, really good. Hard support, right? I think she really her use really depends on who you stack her with, and we've been seeing that in submitted runs already. Like for Eldnarsh, who has a lot of dumps, very, very valuable. Who else
Yeah.
did I see? Who else did I see? People ran Iroha with like Terra Young, right? Like
Yep.
huge gains. Anyone who has a ton of off turns, anyone who has a bunch of dumps, it's very worth it.
Garland people are
Yeah,
pointing out
Garland. Yeah,
Emperor.
Garland,
Yeah.
Emperor. Oh.
Scott.
Somebody,
St.
somebody,
Emperor.
somebody earlier said Null. I
Yeah.
forgot who it was, but thank you for that.
Yeah,
Like they're like,
Noel,
yeah,
yeah,
Null has
with
a
his
bunch of
follow up.
follow-ups. Yeah, so
Yep.
she helps him immensely. So yeah, like she helps a lot of the roster. That's
Yeah.
what I want to preach her for. Like I do ultimately agree. You don't need her. You could quote unquote reach the same goal with a big fat battery as a lot of people are saying. I don't necessarily think it's 1 to 1, but right, you don't but I feel like she's a lot of fun to play with and we're going to get a lot of characters that work with her, right? Like Tidus and Cod
Hmm.
and even Lael with his launch cycle. These are a lot of characters. Fucking Porum with the like. We for the next month and a half, we're getting a lot of characters with follow-ups and off-turn damage.
Yeah.
She helps a lot of them. But that being said, what I found with my own gameplay though is that usually I do like she can't be your own only support.
Hmm.
I tried Usually, right now, my default is Eldnarsh and another bigger support like Sarah or Pestle, because they're just the bigger supports and easier to do other things, and then a orb manager. Usually, I'm finding like I can use Iroha, but I am not defaulting to her, right? Because she's not sufficient in aura alone. She's not going to check a lot of orbs. So it really feels like a third slot character. It really feels like once you have everything checked, then you can bring Iroha or something. Um, I think she's really interesting though. And I definitely will be using her, and I think it's a really cool gimmick, guys. I don't think you can lose out pulling her. There's so many characters coming up that will really, really take advantage of the Brave discount. That's all I got.
Well, I have her LD, and I don't have her EX yet, so I'm still pulling on that daily. And if I don't get that, I'll probably token it and have her in my pocket as well. Definitely not the selling point I heard several times throughout the cycle was, pull for her LD call. Not really sure. That's that's the ideal situation. It is only a 2 turn, so it is good into those bursts, get those big fat burst numbers, but yeah, as Mino says, could be a nice potential team partner. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If you picked her up, great. If you passed on that entire cycle, I think you'll probably be okay. Don't know if you want to go into the fights at all. I think we won't dig into the fights. Of course, you can dig into all the characters, TonberryTroupe.com, beautiful infographics, and you can dig into any of the fights at DissidiaFFOO. Scott Ong, who's on with us right now, does a lot of those fight analyses, and of course, the call to arms. Macnell, our friend, has all that on there as well. The one thing I would say about the last month of Lufania's, this month seems a little bit more flexible than last month. So There's a lot of interesting team comps. Of course, we got TCC challenges running. Yeah, anything about the Eldnarsh cycle Lufanias?
What was the Strago fight again?
That was the one you needed to do both thunder and lightning, or they didn't go up.
What was the enemy though? What do they do?
Oh, that's a different question
Okay.
that I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, I'll blanket cover the fights later, but and any thoughts on the whale one? I thought that was a particularly good fight.
Oh, the space whales. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was I don't even remember who I used on that fight, but I didn't use Eldnarsh on everything. Um I used Eldnarsh on I think all the CQs, of course, and I used him on one of the Lufanias. So so that, it was nice to have options on there, but yeah, the so we had the Caius Dark Bahamut fight with the Eldnarsh mannequin. We had the two behemoths. That was the lots of lore. The Kaiser behemoths with the swords, whatever they are. And then we had the space whales. That was the Iroha one, right? Yeah. Lots of shields. Interesting. Of course, Tifa just beat through most of that shit anyway. But there were people using Terra Yang still, people using Squex Airlines still, people obviously using Eldnarsh. So there were a lot of the whales had shields, yeah. I felt there were a little bit more options than the previous month, but obviously a lot of creative runs in that too. I don't know that we need to go into any detail on any of those
Yeah, I'll
specifically.
cover it. Let's do it after we talk about the latest fight.
All right, well, let's take a transition now. Something I'm calling interlude, as that was part of the in-game terminology. Transitioning from one thing to another. And what I'd like to do just today is kind of bring up a community showcase. There was a call. Mino put out a call. New content creators. We need fresh blood, new people, putting out new things. And so we've had an influx. I have to sidetrack here. So I went to the aquarium, Shed Aquarium in downtown Chicago today. I felt like everybody and their mom was like doing video blogs, travel blogs, like Instagram, TikToks. Like, come on. Like in that kind of context, I wasn't thrilled. Just look at the fish, go about your business. Like not everybody needs to see your day at the aquarium. Anyway, it is what it is. We do want more people making content in DFFOO. And so had a few people. Dystopia Bard has been doing some fun things on the Dystopia channel and on his Twitter. And so check that out. Our friend Blartanian's been doing some great stuff. I already mentioned Indolent Lard has been doing some good stuff. VL is not new, but I wanted to shout out VL. His Final Fantasy After Years video. Blart DFFOO, not Blartanian. Blart DFFOO. That's his YouTube. But VL just did a great little video about Theodore's Burst, and so I just thought that his videos are hilarious. I think he spends a lot of time doing them. So
RVK put out some really good stuff lately, just boosting newer content creators. Have you been watching RVK? Have we plugged him before? He's worth a shout out.
I don't know. I'm not even sure that I am following RVK, so I'll have to check that out. So, is it RVK on YouTube?
It's RVK something.
RVK, I think you're
Uh,
with us.
we'll figure it out.
I'll try. I'll
Well,
look at
R
RVK.
underscore V underscore K.
R underscore R underscore V underscore K. No, I'm not finding it here. RVK, if you're still with us, oh, here we go. Yeah, it is. I found it here. So, I am not followed to you, so I will definitely subscribe and check out RVK. R underscore V underscore K underscore. So, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, check it out. And we had some other friends doing some stuff. So just we'll try to be shouting out things every week. So if you see a good video that you really like, somebody new, somebody we've not mentioned before, send that to us. We'd like to highlight new content creators, up and coming content creators, people who are doing good things who need a little bit more love. The more of us who are doing, like, somebody's made comments before about, hey, what do you think about the fireside chat, or what do you think about
I hate them.
BC's? Yeah, well, we hate the fireside chat. June Lee especially.
At the post show, this is the post show. I
Yeah.
mean, in the post show, we'll go into it, guys. I
But
get.
no, but I mean that's content I like BC's ranting hour every Wednesday. I enjoy that. I always watch that. I always listen to that. I listened to it today, this morning, early in the morning. I got up and I was doing my poll video, and I was listening to BC's rant hour. I love that. I always listen to the fireside chat. I love that. It's super positive. They never complain about anything. Always real nice. but But yeah, and so I mean, I want more content like that. And pull videos, man. I'll watch your dumbass pull video till I'm blue in the face. I don't watch all your runs. I love you all. I just don't care about runs. Like, I don't like to play the game as it is. So no, I'm joking. I do like to play the game, but I just my attention span to watch run videos, unless it's something real weird, something real goofy, it's just not going to hold. But yeah, funny things. I love pull videos. I love when people are excited about things, and I'll watch. I don't like them, but I'll watch should you polls, especially funny ones. But I watch all the serious ones. I try to get a take of everything else. So there's probably some other ideas, some other things going on. So yeah, who knows? Anything else you wanted to shout out there?
Uh, no, it's so rough. We had so much excitement built for a lot of things over the month, and then we didn't do a podcast in a month, and now it's so different coming back to it. But yeah, I guess we'll try to spotlight as much people. Evil Kong says any content or DFFOO content.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
specifically, this is
Yeah,
a
sorry.
DFO.
Yeah. So like
Yeah,
we'll try to be focusing on that because we only have so much time.
no.
But great community. I had this whole thing ready to go 3 weeks ago, Mark. I was gonna be like, ever since Broadway left, I've been thinking about, we've been talking about, oh, he did a lot to build up the community. We want to continue that. All positivity, right? Like Broadway didn't ever complain about the game
Yeah.
or people, and he just promoted people, gave them resources and platforms, like something blah blah yada yada. Carry that on.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
love 40. Yeah, 40 has stepped down from making DFO videos. He still does stream occasionally, still on the fireside chat, but 40 is no longer making videos for DFO, and he's left a hole in our hearts. A 40 shaped Saiyan shaped musical Saiyan shaped hole in our hearts. So yeah, we love Snoop Ball. For sure. And all the people who do the runs. But yeah, looking for other things as well. So, but yeah, let us know. Don't put it in chat. I mean, you can put it in chat, but like if you want me to highlight it on the show, reach out to me, message me, say, hey, I saw this video this week. That's what I'd like to do moving forward. Like, hey, I saw this video this week. I think you should watch it too. That's the kind of thing I want to do every week moving forward. So, except anything from Clay. Screw Clay. No, I shout out to Dystopia. I think they broke 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's a great channel for checking out crazy runs and those big number, small turn runs. So let's go back to the events of the day because we have things to talk about for today, and that is, of course, what the hell is this event called? Jumping the Shark.
Is it
Invaders from Distant Seas. Yes, it's the Invaders from Distant Seas, which brought us a new LDBT. It's brought us two banners with free multi-polls. Kryl and Celeste get a rerun, and Keist does as well. And they get their blue armors. Of course, you're not doing that, so that doesn't really matter at the end of the day, unless they're a favorite and you just spent them. But Lael did get his LD and BT. So to break Lael down very, very briefly, what does Lael do? Well, Lael has a debuff which makes launching or initiating chase sequence, that's the official term, easier. And so that's skill 1. He applies that. Now it does a little bit more damage, does a little bit more hits. Great. Skill 2, if it has the thing, the debuff active, force debuff, it launches. His EX launches. And his LD launches. And what does he do? He launches. That's his thing. That's his entire gimmick. His LD is actually, somebody was saying, I never really liked launch comps. They're a little too hard to set up. Leo's LD actually makes setting up launch comps much, much easier. Now, he does switch his turn behind somebody else's turn, so that can help you set up some turn manipulation. It's minimally important unless you're a big brain player. The big thing that his LD buff, which is like his cutie mark, I forget what it's called, shining cutie mark or something like that.
Shining sheet.
Yeah, so he gets his that. And what his cutie mark gives him is the ability to everyone be in the launch sequence regardless of enemy turn order. So even if it's Lael, enemy A, enemy B, second character, third character, all 3 of your characters are in the launch sequence, and that's freaking sweet. So it actually gets a little easier to set up launches with Lael. He's doing tons of battery, bravery fun. His BT is great. I mean, it does what you would want it to do. More launches for everybody. Everybody launches all the time. Him and Kais are great. It's a great banner. And Elfina, I think, is on that banner too. So it's a nice pickup if you're going through Entropy. And so, yeah, the 2 of them are just launching to high heavens. All the dumb hot takes are stupid, and I hate them. We'll talk about them maybe a little bit later. But he plays real smooth. He plays real simple. I have used Lael back in the 35 era, in the EX era. EX Plus, not so much. I didn't use him in that kind of era. I didn't use launch teams so much. I didn't like launch teams as much in that era because I kind of got burned out on launch teams early on in the old days of launch comps. But yeah, he seems real smooth, and I think a lot of people are underestimating how useful he is with not only launch but delay and battery and just turn manipulation. And yeah, there's a lot going on in his kit. Talking about versatility, so yeah, I mean, I like him. I think he's a good investment. I think Black Cloud and I were talking earlier today. He will be useful for every orb on his cycle, because Kurisame's orb is not a ice orb. So there's a delay orb, and so that's the Kurasame orb is a delay orb. So he will be helpful in that. He might need help, but you got plenty of people that can help that with extra delay. Cypher among them. He's the big delayer on that banner. He's going to be great in Transcendence on one of the wings and in the Reckoning, the main one. And people are saying, well, you got plenty of other launchers, and I think Black Cloud said, yeah, a lot of us have Cloud and Ramza locked already in Transcendence. So who are you bringing for Transcendence 3 as your launcher? Are you bringing Sid Reigns? Probably not. So that doesn't mean there aren't other options. But yeah, a lot of people have Kais and Cloud and Ramza already locked away. So yeah, I think he's a great pickup. I think he plays real smooth. If you like launch, great. If you don't like launch, man, you better have some launchers because you're going to need them for this cycle. Mino, what do you think?
Very, very unique character. So useful, right? Big fat batteries. His debuffs are really, really great too. With Force Up, you really only even if you use him as a call to apply the Force buff or bring him in as a friend,
Yeah.
it lets the team launch really easily, 5 consecutive turns or something like that.
Yeah, he starts with the Force debuff, and then his LD reapplies it. So I mean, your skill 1 is kind of your battery, Brave Shave, AOE damage. You don't have to use skill 1 to apply the buff because he starts with it and his LD brings it. So you're already applying it twice if you're using him.
Mm-hmm. Unlike a lot of other characters we were talking about, pretty newbie friendly, very easy to use.
Yeah.
Very easy to use. Turn manipulation's always strong. He delays. What? All you have to do is have the LD up, and then every time you S2, you're battering your entire party, delaying the enemy, getting a full launch. It's
his
powerful,
EX
right?
his EX his EX charges on like one skill. He does have a launching HP plus now, a special HP plus after he does his LD. So, but yeah, his EX charges super fast, and so I mean he's not running out of skills anytime soon. He's one of those characters you'll almost never use any of his all of his skills. So
He just has so much going for him. Turn manipulation again is just big and huge. The other thing is delay orbs. We've seen our good share. I'm sure we haven't seen our last.
yeah,
Easy character for that. He batteries after launches, so he gives your entire team brave refund. Like
yep.
sort of like Iroha, right? Like he covers a lot of bases, and we're probably going to see a good amount of launch orbs going forward too. Let's not pretend
Well, and
launches
he'll
are rare.
he'll come back with a BT plus, and guess what you're going to get when he gets his BT plus? Launch orbs. Like,
Let's not pretend we're not going to see delay or launch orbs in the future. Going forward, he covers a lot of orbs.
and
Very good.
can you imagine? Just I mean, without any upgrade, his BT plus just allows you to launch that many turns, like for free. So yeah, I mean, this idea of skip this character for this character 6 months from now is it's just a bad idea. Either you like launch or you don't, but you're going to have launchers in this game. That's just how the game's designed. So you're going to have to figure out one. He's the most consistent. He's one of the easiest to use. He's a good pickup, even if you don't like launch meta, launch teams. He's just the good one to have in your back pocket as the BT launch character and the most consistent launch character and the launch enabler. I mean, Kais might be kind of the second, but Kais is a little harder to play than Lael, very truthfully.
So all of that said, and same, I hate launches. So I want Lael to make any time I have to launch a painless experience, right?
Yeah.
And ironically, if you for some reason ever want to do Reigns' Lufania without Reigns, Lael is a key player to that. Lael and Sync can do it without Reigns. I know obviously everyone's gonna skip Lael pull for Reigns anyways,
Yeah.
but just putting that out there, when there are insane stupid ass launch orbs, Lael can make it work. And like I said, again, I know a lot of you guys hate launches like me, so if you ever just want a character to take care of any launch orbs or launch requirements, like this is the character to pull for. Mark already covered. He's really good
Yeah.
for his cycle. Last thing we got to touch on, I think people wanted us to shout out, is that his BT effect is raising the HP cap by 10%.
Yeah.
This is literally the only source we have other than Terra BT effect, I believe. And it is very big, and Lael can make use of it because launches, always hit huge ass fucking HP chunks. So, it's not useless. It's not all around great,
Yeah,
but if you build around it,
it's 20%.
oh, okay, 20%. If you build around it, raising the HP damage cap by 20% is significant. There are certain characters that are hitting that for sure. Like if you really, really build hard, but not like you're not going to stumble onto it. So it's up to you.
People are asking how he is without his LD. He's fine without his BT. He's fine
without
without
the
his
BT, he's
burst.
fine.
Yeah, he's
Without
fine
the
without his
BT,
burst.
he is fine. The BT is just for the effect. I don't really. He doesn't even
Yeah.
launch every turn of his BT like Cloud does. That's why Cloud's better. But Lael, like you'll be fine. The LD is the prize. Being able to get a full launch for what is it, 28 fucking no, 27 fucking turns or something crazy like that. It's ridiculous. If you hate launches and you want to coast through his cycle like me, pull Lael.
Yeah.
This whole and I know Mark was gonna get to this, but this whole bullshit of just wait till he comes back is the dumbest fucking bullshit. Since we're oh
Yeah, we literally had don't pull Kais because you can get Kais when he comes back with Lael. And now we've already had don't pull Lael because Sid Reigns is I mean, we've heard that like already, and so at that point you're never pulling on anybody because once Sid Reigns comes out on Global, we're going to have Lael's BT Plus, and then we all should have done that. And once we get Lael BT Plus, we're going to have Sid Reigns BT Plus because he's going to get it before. Somebody else was talking about Ash. Sid Reigns definitely going to get a BT before Ash. But yeah, it's Sid Kane's. Yeah, Kane's LBT, right? He's going to be launching like a fool someday. Well, as you can imagine, because of the underhype of Lael, the banner with Celeste and Kryl almost has no one pulling whatsoever. The banner with Lael, 22 pitying the LD, 2 using gems, 84 tickets, and 36 skipping. Thank you to Quetzalma and Materiabot for that podcast poll. So, yeah, a lot of people skipping over this. Man, good luck. There are plenty of ways to get through this cycle without Lael. But, man, check your roster for Dimensions. And, hey, Blartanian, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it very much. I did watch your Lael SPC. SYP. I did, and everybody check out Blart DFFOO and his Should You Polls, his calming, soothing poll videos, and his very informative SYPs in under 5 minutes because that's how the free music lasts. So, all right. Well, next on the agenda is the co-op. We don't normally talk about co-op, but boy, do we have to talk about co-op because this is a co-op event. That's why we have to talk about it.
Lufania first before we go off.
Do you want to talk about Lufania first? Sure. So let's talk about
please.
sharks. Just to be, so you fight 2 Ramwikins. What? Really? That's what they're called? You fight 2 sharks. That's a weird name for a shark. Somebody figure that out. But you fight 2 of these sharks, and their orb is a launch orb. And so you have to launch them to take up their orb. At certain thresholds, I don't know what they are yet because I don't have Scott Ong's wonderful guide in front of me yet. Check that out when it comes out. If it comes out, Ramstein. At certain thresholds, they become immune to a great, like 99% brave damage outside of launch or chase sequences, unless you do something like 200. Oh, is that a French word for shark? I should know. I know French. Until you do 250,000 damage in launch, that removes the status.
150K.
Is it just 150? So basically, here's the mechanic for this fight. You got to launch, and then you got to launch some more, and then you got to keep launching, and then you got to launch some more. So that's really it. I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, I didn't have any damage mitigation on my team whatsoever, and their attacks didn't seem to be doing a lot. So, I just went full aggressive, but and so I did delay them a little bit, but still, I mean, they hit me plenty of times. Even their AOE attacks hit me, not the bad ones, the orb ones, but they didn't seem like they were very aggressive or very dangerous, but I also brought an aggressive amount of launch. There are ways outside of this. Obviously, Lael and Kais, really great here. Outside of that, if you have Cloud works really well. Tifa does have some limited launch, not a bad option. She's good anyway. She does crazy amounts of damage. The TCC challenge, which is, let me see if I can pull that up. No Tifa, no Lael, no Kais, no Kryl, no Celeste. Fujin, yeah. Fujin and Ramza are making a Fujin, definitely. Bart's Iroha Fujin, that's Theologica. Garland Iroha Fujin, that's CSDX. Garland Iroha Fujin, that's Heavy Kura. And Ramza Ash Mog, Lizette, those are the current TCC champions. But yeah, a lot of Laels, a lot of Kaises, some Clouds, some Ramza, some Fujins for the TCC challenges. But if you're not bringing launch, I maybe there's like one non-launch team. I'm trying to think. Somebody brought Eldnarsh, which I thought was hilarious. I want to say I've seen like one non-launch team make it through this with a Lael friend and something else, but I'm not even finding it right now. So gotta get some launch. So Oh, Bart's Galif Cryle with a Lael friend. Weird did that. So there's some options. So it's not terrible, but you probably got to have Lael friend if you don't have a launcher on your team. Mino, what are your thoughts on the Sharks?
So we're not going to dive into mechanics. People want to talk about thresholds, whatever. There's resources for that. We're gonna try to avoid the really
When
nitty-gritty
it
stuff.
flashes on the screen and says "break me" or do 150,000 damage, that's the threshold.
Uh, but basically, for the nitty-gritty, there's other resources, and there's always the Discord, right? Like we're already on the Discord talking about it non-stop. Uh,
I mean, it's standard threshold. It's 79, 49, 29, something
yeah,
like that, right? It's standard threshold.
yeah. So I'll just talk about the overall design. First of all, um. I don't I think I like this fight. I don't I it's weird. I think I like this fight. It sells the banner characters so
Oh,
well.
it sells them real
There
good.
there are a lot of mechanics Mark didn't see, but
Yeah.
like Celeste and Kryl amazingly shut some stuff down.
Mm.
And it really shows you like Lael it really sells Lael hard on um how important it is to get a full launch. Like I know people talk about Square Enix Airlines for a while, and people will always be like, "Well, this fight is going to be hard to do airlines on." I forgot it was a recent one. Clay was talking about. Oh, right, Chaos Bahamut. When Eamon was wiping, Clay was like, "Oh, he could just bring airlines." But to be fair, it is hard to do airlines on this because of frame turns and it's kind of fast. And so it's always like when you're running airlines, it's always like, okay, how can I line this up? And this fight shows that. There's a lot of turn manipulation in it. So once they hit the thresholds, the sharks will always go after your allies
Yeah,
for
right.
a couple of turns. So you don't get any breaks unless you stall the sharks out for 2 turns each, which is what Celeste is handy for. Because what they do is when they hit that threshold, if you don't launch 150k right off the bat, Mark, uh, they do a water plus attack,
Yes, right.
which will do about 40k damage.
Yeah,
And if it breaks you, they'll kill you.
right.
So it's actually an insanely deadly fight if you're
No,
not
you
ready for
have
it.
to launch, right? Yeah, no, there's no way around it.
Or Celeste absorbs it.
Yeah.
Right. Or yeah. Or you paralyze and buy yourself enough time. There's a lot of ways around it, which I'll
Yeah.
get to about the design. But the point is like the fight like it shows Lael's strengths. It sells the this is by the way the best spread of synergy characters we've ever had. This is the first time all the synergy characters make sense. Lael and Kais, and also Celeste and Kryl, all four of them. You can build a full synergy team and blow through this fucking fight. The synergy among these are amazing. And then that being said, this fight is so good at displaying the synergy. That being said, there's still so many ways around it if you choose not to do the synergy. And before we get to the really, really negative feelings about co-op and other stuff, I wanted to praise the game like since Eld's cycle has ended, or no, since Eld's cycle,
Yeah.
basically, the fights. This is this is my ideal difficulty right now, guys. These last couple of fights, these last four or so fights, this is my ideal difficulty because should you want to bring synergy and synergy stomp the fight, you can.
Yes.
If you bring full synergy to these last four fights, you don't even have to pay that much attention to the mechanics. You still have to kind of engage,
Right.
right? Like even when you bring synergy, you still have to kind of think about it. And but it's usually a non-factor and you can blow through the fight and that's fine. That's how a gotcha free-to-play game should be, in my opinion. If somebody wants to shell out money and get the optimal toy, they should be able to blow through content. And then if you choose not to, you still can do it, but it's very challenging. It's very challenging if you're not doing it. Like Silocons and other people are saying in chat already, like they're like this TCC challenge is pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like it is legit hard. There's a lot of it's funny because there's a lot of mechanics you will not see if you bring synergy. You will not see the killer moves. You will not see the turn manipulation. You will not think about how hard it is to get 150k in launch because they nullify 99% of the HP damage of the launching attack, right? And so the two people in the air have to do a combined 150k. So they have to be pretty much batteried to max. And then you could play with that with Pandemonium Summon and HP damage. Like, but there's a lot of shit going on. And I've been talking to Macnell, I've been talking to BC. This is my ideal state of the game. They've stopped throwing immunities and absorbs up the ass just to shut characters down. If you look past a couple of fights and you look ahead the next couple of months, there's very few absorbs and immunities. They let
Yeah.
you go crazy, right? Like we didn't get to talk about it because we didn't talk about Eld, but Eldnarsh SYPs are like, oh, well, he'll be shut down when terror immune enemies come out. We looked ahead from now to JP, there are no enemies that are immune to terror. None. Zero. Okay, and like
Yeah.
absorbs an immunity, like you can bring a lot of shit now, guys. Like these fights are opening up, but somehow with less restrictions, you still have to really respect the mechanics. And of course, again, synergy stomp through it, ignore mechanics, do it. That's what whales should be able to do if they want to pay money. Um, but like if you don't, and you do the challenge runs, the synergy, like I mean, the mechanics are very, very good. Like this is the point. Everyone's bitching about orbs and stuff. This is the point of the game where the fight mechanics themselves are more daunting
Yeah.
than the orbs and only optional should you choose to chase it. So, like BC was saying that, and Mark a little bit, but I blame BC for brainwashing Mark, saying like it's garbage time from here to Lufania Plus. But I feel like these upcoming months are very fun if you want to engage, but if you want to skip and save resources, that's fine too. I feel like this caters to all players and audiences. This is my I so big props for the recent fight designs. Big props for having so many mechanics and so many ways around them. Like Galuf Celeste, if you just want to eat this killer move. Leon does absorbs. You can absorb a lot of shit. You can paralyze, HP silence, paralyze, lock them out. There's so many things to do. Um, that being said, I just also want to say, Kais is still MVP of this fight more than Lael. I promise you guys. I promise you guys, you don't need Lael. A lot of people are just running Kais anyways.
Oh yeah.
Kais will get you the damage and the turn
Kai's great.
manipulation. And when I run Lael without Kais,
And prevent
especially,
breaks, remember?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mark. Exactly. Like Kais prevents the killer attack by preventing the break.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like there's so many
People
mechanics.
completely forget about that
Yeah, yeah,
very,
yeah.
very useful thing
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many like crazy mechanics, but there's
Hmm.
so many ways around them now. Like this is like peak DFFOO fight design, in my opinion. So I'm gonna like a lot of us are having a blast. A lot of people in chat are saying like we're going forward, this is a fun time where you're not shut out of characters and the sky's the limit on your creativity. So props to that before we move on to this garbage stuff. But I do want to say like, yeah, using Lael without Kais in both the Lufania and the co-ops, I'm noticing like no, Kais really makes or breaks your launch comp. Still, Lael can get a full launch and it still won't be anywhere near the
Oh
potential
no.
of if Kais is yeah. So Kais is a great pickup.
And it's wonderful synergy because now Leo can position himself around Kais to make Kais's launch HP plus even more powerful. So, hey, I did get a special sneak peek of the battle infographic from Scott Ong, who does Dissidio Info boss guides. And so it is, yes, they turn red. They enter their jamming mode at 79%, and that's when they turn red. And they have 75% brave damage reduction at that point. That's for the rest of the fight. 79, 49, 29, I was right, is the 99% HP damage resist unless you do the 150k to break the aura. And then, yeah, the orbs is canceled at 49%. You don't see it again. But, yeah, so that is the fight. Thank you, Scott, for that. I appreciate it very much. And you'll be able to find that on DissidiaInfo.com when that is posted if you want to dig into it. But I agree 100%. I think I think when we were talking about garbage time, we were talking about current JP, and of course we were talking about garbage time in the sports terminology. So not like Ash garbage, but like, yeah, that fourth quarter, you're up by 50 points. I'm less of a basketball person, but it's the ninth inning in the game. You're losing 15-7, and you send in a position player to pitch. That's garbage time, right?
Yeah.
That's garbage time. But yeah, this isn't. I wouldn't call this garbage time. I think this is a nice. A nice balance. Like you said, you can pull for the synergy, breeze through it real nice, but if you don't, it's going to be challenging. It's doable. It's doable.
Yeah, that being said, a lot of content creators are trying to say save for Lufania Plus, but this is going to be, if you don't have the 2-week synergy, these fights are going to suck ass. I promise you. Like Lael, if you look ahead at the orbs, he's got everything covered from Transcendence to the Lost Chapters delay launches, etc. Yellow Crystal. Tidus's cycle is infamously terrible if you don't have Tidus, because that's when the turn counts really, really, really shrink.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's gonna pull, but right. Don't underestimate these couple of months. Yes.
Well, I think it will be interesting for all the people who are like, oh, I'm not pulling. It will be interesting to see how they approach Transcendence 3. There are options. There are options out there. So good luck. But if you're going to plan for anything, and you're going to look at fights, Transcendence is really one of those things you need to look at. And there are launch orbs in Transcendence 3. So Fujin might carry you. I don't know. Props to Bart's Fujin. Bart's Fujin might be able to carry you through that, but you need a yellow crystal and launch. So go figure who that's calling. Who calling you to use? Yeah, remember the Transcendence always favors the character who is featured. So another obvious reason to do that. So co-op. Oh Lord, co-op. Yeah, we're an hour and 40 minutes in, and now we're going to talk about co-op. Oh, Lord, bear me strength. So in Japan, this event was a 6-character co-op, not a 6-human being co-op, a 3-human being co-op, and each human being brought 2 characters. Why? Who knows? It was kind of a mess. It was 7 waves. There was Cosmos and Chaos difficulty, and the chance to get Gilgamesh, which of course is how you get the Greg tokens, which is on your screen here, was based on the number of synergy LDs and BTs you had, and more important for the BTs. So the BT gave you the most chance. Even then, it didn't seem consistent in terms of getting Greg, and you could get Greg multiple times because it was a 7-way fight. Everybody in Japan hated it. It was terrible. JP has never gone back to the 6-man co-ops again or done anything like it, and so we knew that there were going to be changes. We didn't know quite what they were. So here are the changes, and good on DFFOO, on Squex, for making these changes. We might want to talk about what they could have done. It is not a 6-person, because that was dumb. So it's just a regular co-op, 3 characters, 3 human beings, or just solo. Fine. That's how it is. It's been taken from 7 waves to 3 waves. So there's, if you're facing Gilgamesh, a wave of the little dragons, Gilgamesh, and then the sharks, or Mammoth was saying they're piranhas. They could be piranhas. They're flying sharks, I think, but I don't know. They are what they are. If you do the very first co-op, the chance of getting a Gilgamesh in the second wave, not very high. It's 30 or 50%, but no one's doing that anyway. Cosmos, it's a 70% chance. Chaos, it's 100%. So the RNG to get Greg is based on the difficulty, not the LDs and BTs. Fine, no problem. Love it. Great fix. Great call. Props to good thinking on that. The RNG was an issue. They fixed it. Good on you, Squex. Appreciate you listening to the community. The problem is even the Cosmos has a ridiculous amount of HP. Greg will disappear after 5 actions. So if you do not kill him, you don't get the tokens. Greg has a lot of HP. Like, you need to have built up your launches in wave 1 to summon in wave 2, or you need to have a BT. And obviously Lael is the only synergy BT, and we've only had 2 banners with Lael on it. The Chaos, which gives you a guaranteed of getting a Gilgamesh, ridiculous. That dumb Chaos can take, if you're playing with random people, 20 minutes. And we're talking about, man, I don't want to play 20-minute. I don't mind 20-minute Lufanias, but for this is co-op. I should be able to run 5 bells in 15 minutes. That's co-op. Like, right? That's co-op. And if I'm doing a chaos that takes longer, I should have the equal number of resources that I get from running 5 dumb Cosmos ones, just because I'm only going to be able to use 1 bell in that 15 minutes. That's my thinking on it. My bigger problem is the chance. I have never run a Chaos Cosmos without either the host getting disconnected or one of the members getting disconnected, and then you don't get all of the rewards. And that pisses me off. So I don't know how that can be fixed. That should definitely be fixed. But listen, everybody is still kind of down on it. They're frustrated by it. It's a grind. It's not particularly fun. Yeah, play with some friends. Come on our Discord. Get a group of people. It's going to be easier. Get on voice chat. You can just hang out and do it, and it's fine. We'll all get through it. We'll all live. It will be fine. But they had 9 months to work on this and make it just smooth. They didn't. My frustration is they're obviously, as you said, Mino, earlier, and I'll pass it to you, but as you said earlier, there's definitely kind of a downgrade in some attention to detail. My feeling is there's really nobody there that plays the game, that's invested in the game, and that's fine if you don't want to have people. It doesn't make any sense to me, because that's like me. Like I've heard the conversation, like, well, if you're a dev on a game and you're spending all your time making the game, you don't want to play the dumb game. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe that's a cultural thing. Maybe that's just the culture of video game companies. I get it. It's a business. People hate their life and they should hate their job. I get it. I love my job. I'm at church sometime. No, I do. I love my job. I love my job. Mark buys
himself a Lego set every job to forget the pain.
No, I love my job. I am at church.
Himself for getting through another day.
I am at church 6 days a week. I love church. I love church stuff. When church is great, it's the best. I love what I do. It brings me incredible joy. When I'm on vacation, I was on vacation a couple weeks. You know what we did on Sunday? We went to freaking church because I love church. I like church architecture, and I like worship and sacraments, and I like hearing scripture, and I like singing with folks, and I like hearing people preach. I like churchy stuff. I like going out to eat with folks, and I'm fellowship. I mean, I love it. But, I get it. So I understand that that's a different culture. Yes, ideally you should love what you do, but the vast majority of you don't. It's a job. I get it, whatever. That being said, yeah, find somebody who can play the game, who is involved in the community. Poor Joshua, I don't have any idea how many different things he has to do, but he's kind of the messenger, right? That's kind of his job as community manager. It's not to be invested too much, but it could be, it could be so much easier if they just reached out to us, people who like the game, who want the game to succeed, and just say, hey, we know this bombed in Japan. How can we make it better? Do a freaking survey on Twitter instead of asking us what Joshua had for breakfast 3 weeks ago. Come on, people. It's not that hard. It doesn't take that much time. You don't need to hire a staff person to figure out what the community wants. All you got to do is ask the community. Either you ask it in some broad spec, and then you get, you ask them, what questions do you have? And then they're dumb because you're asking dumb questions, or you get a couple people who really are interested in the game or making content for the game or really interested in the game, and you say, hey, how could we make the game better? Or you get the people who spend a ton of money on the game, like myself, and you say, hey, how could we make your experience better? And you talk to your freaking players, because that makes you money. Like, we're doing the work for you. Tonberry Troupe's doing work for you. Macno's doing
Suckers.
works for you. Quetz is doing work. Like, all these people are doing work for you. We'll do work for you. I said that, I still want to make a video about the commercials. There have been some good DFFOO commercials, some real awful ones. So, but like, man, have a freaking make the next DFFOO commercial campaign. The kind of creative wonder that would happen from this community if you said, hey, write the next DFFOO commercial, record the next DFFOO commercial. You'd have some like blockbuster shit happening that you could just use for free. Like, the community wants to help, but you have to have a conversation and then be willing to bend. So I don't know if it's a cultural thing, if it's a video game, if it's a Japan thing. Like, why can't we have this conversation and say, yeah, I don't freaking want status badges. Like, maybe there's a few people watching right now who are like, yeah, finally we got status badges. Oh, more status badges. The only reason I have a status badge is because it's freaking my avatar. So it just works, and I'm never ever going to change it. If I didn't have that, I probably would never use it. But there are things that would make the game better. The game's great. I think it's one of the best gacha games. I think it is the best gacha game, period. It's the most generous. I think it has all the moving parts. I don't think it's overtuned. It doesn't make you like hate yourself, like, oh, I got to get up and do this every day. It's not this like constant PvP grind, climb the ladder and then get knocked back down, or like I'm always behind on resources. I mean, it's so generous. It's so, it can be casual. It can be intense. You can have fun with it. We talk about it, 158 episodes of this dumb thing, and a lot more other things, in between. And all you would have to do is just like, hey, let's grab a couple people and have a conversation. It just seems simple. So that's my rant.
I agree with Mark on the big picture, but let me get there. So I think Mark has I think his expectations are too high. For devs, not only do I know a lot of game devs, but a lot of software devs too. Nobody wants to use their own product. That's just a thing. People are speaking up in chat right now saying that they develop software. They don't want to touch their own fucking product. I'm going to be honest, like, I manage the website for my program, and I only fix it when people complain that something's broken. I'm not sitting there trying to use the website or trying to improve it unless somebody yells at me.
Right, and I get that. Right.
And here's the thing. So for the really big games, yes, they have QA teams. Yes, the director and the staff playtest it extensively. But I feel like mobile games are bottom of the barrel trash. Let's be fucking honest. Let's be really, really honest. Nobody who works in the game industry's lifelong ambition is to work on a mobile game that is here to generate money and be scrapped in a couple of years. First of all, QAing. Okay, so here's I'm going to supplement with some of the information I know. At least on the GL side, in the headquarters in LA, where they're the office, they have over a dozen community managers in the mobile division. All right. And so the fact that we only have one that plays the game, Josh, thank God for that. I don't know how much of it is his job, but Glacy didn't, and Crystal doesn't.
Yeah.
So if you can't even get a second community manager to play or care about the game, then who else? Like, do you really think they have like a QA team? Do you think their devs are really like? Here's another thing I know. I don't know how much the GL devs do. I'm guessing quality of life. Did you know that Abyss was made by the JP devs? It's GL content, but the JP devs made Abyss.
Right.
So I don't know what the GL devs are actually doing or how big their team is.
It's just one guy in like the basement of Squex LA. Like he's burned out. He's using Google Translate. He's just
Yeah,
done.
yeah, that's another thing I know for sure that the at least the LA office of Square Enix, that branch, it's mostly marketing. I know that Team Ninja does a lot of the development and Square Enix as the publisher does the funding and the marketing and the
Yeah.
distribution, right? So I don't know what the fuck anyone's doing, but here's like when you have a weekly trash mobile game that has a content every 4 days, 4 to 5 days. That's very unusual, by the way, guys. If you guys played any other game,
Oh Lord.
they don't get content updates as much as this.
Yeah.
And with a breakneck pace like this, it's got to be really hard to QA anything. How much time do you really have to do anything? I want to guess everything is by formula. Everything's got to be
Yeah.
by numbers and formula. And here's the story I tell all the time because everyone thinks that these games need QA. They're old in live letters, Final Fantasy 14, since you guys are all FF14 dorks. Um, Up to 4.0, so 2.0, all of 2.0, all of 3.0. They said Yoshi P said they had two people design fights. Their fight design team was a two-man effort. I think it grew to two teams, but they were
Mm.
very small teams. And so for ARR, one guy did the raids and the other one did the trials, and then they switched in Heavensward.
Wow.
And they barely had anyone to QA, like a handful of people to QA. So how did they balance the raids? They ran a program to determine the maximum DPS needed
Yep.
to clear a fight, and then they just subtracted that by 15% to account for human error and said go at it. And it was fine. Nobody nobody complained. Actually, that's not true. Heaven's Word the first set of raids was considered overtuned. But the point is, when AAA titles have that much of a crunch and squeeze, how much effort do you really think again, Square Enix has like 20 plus mobile games. They're working on like 10 more games. How many fucking games did they release on E3, right? There's that weird one with the girl and the psychic powers. There's fucking there's First Soldier coming out. The FF7 anthology gotcha game. They've got fucking FF16. They've got another FF14. Like it's a finite company and they're working on like 50 fucking projects, right? Like how much do we really think DFFO how much attention is DFFOO really getting? And like I said, it feels like everyone's one foot out the door. I hope I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised, right? Like the translation and the qualities of the patches are getting a little lower. Um, and for any of you quote unquote day one players out there, Josh used to be all over the place, right? That's why the community knew him so well. He used to be on the subreddit. He used to shoot the shit in main chord. He used to talk on the subreddit all the time. He would make regular posts. He would even come onto streams on a regular basis. He came to our streams every week for years. He went to Lid streams. He went to Broadway streams. He would just talk to people in chat. Now you will not find him anywhere. Like if you joined this game in 2021, I would not be surprised if you didn't know who the fuck Square Enix Josh is. Like I get it. He's moved on to other products. He's gotten a promotion. He's working on other shit. But the point is like I would not be surprised if DFFOO was on the decline attention wise. So I this is where I say like Mark, I think you're a little too optimistic that there should be a QA team. Do I agree that there should be? Yeah. For a gotcha game, I don't think it'll happen. Here's where I agree with you. And Necklord and others bring this point up a lot too, which I really agree with. DFFOO, for all of its pluses, is really bad at engaging with the community. I will super admit that. I don't know why Square Enix hates its players so much, but like Pokemon Masters and Disgaea and stuff, they boost content creators. They post content creators. They link them on their social media, and they even give them special shout out codes and sponsor their streams and stuff like that, right? Like even other gotcha games, not like AAA games, even other gotcha
Yeah.
games are really good about supporting their community. Um, Josh, I used to super admire how active Josh was in the community. he is now a ghost in the community. Uh, and that's give and take on depending on the game. But a lot of other games, even gotcha games, you can see like weekly, monthly posts by the community managers with updates, right? I guess you could say we have the stream, but then you'd be lying because that's just co-ops.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
tough.
Yeah. Like if you want to
He
bring up
makes
like
the slides, maybe.
oh yeah, he does make the slides and he does the character showcases,
Yeah,
which I do think is cool. You know, the ones that they post on Twitter.
yeah, right.
But to be fair, a few of us feel like we're not like heard anymore, understandably so. In the early days, Josh would be like, "Thank you for the feedback. Please post everything on the subreddit and main core GL feedback. You know, we want it all. Get it to us," and they fix things fast. Now it's hey, yeah, I passed along the Kadaj thing. For all we know, it's working as intended. So if there's any updates, we'll let you know.
BC says co-ops that they didn't even
Yeah, they
finish
don't even.
on this
Yeah,
last month.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And
that was
yeah,
not a good look. That was not a good
yeah,
look.
yeah.
Um, but yeah. I mean, I don't know if something's making you. I mean, DFO's still making money, and it's making a considerable amount of money for probably a little bit of money being put in, and so yeah, you know, I'm not expecting a huge team to come. Like I said, I think just use the resources in the community. Take advantage, exploit your community for ways to make your community happier, for improvements to the game, to ways to engage your community to spend more money on the game. I mean, again, I'm not like, I don't live in this, rose colored glasses where, hey, if you spend more money on the game's going to get better. No, that's not how life works. That's not how companies work because, companies are out to make the most amount of money for the little amount of effort possible. That's how things work. It's not always ideal, but
And yeah, oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, but I mean, I think the frustration with this is they knew this event sucked,
Yes, they did. They
and
knew this sucked.
and they did change some things. So God bless them. They could have just carbon copied it, and so there's still somebody working on this, right? And so let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. There's still somebody engaged in this. They did fix some things. God bless them. Great. I'm happy about what they've done. But yeah, I mean, it could have been a 15-minute conversation with a couple of the GLJP people are like, okay, this is coming to GL. What can we do to make this better? And it wouldn't have been hard fixes. Like, delete the HP in half. Like, I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Jack,
Like,
so this is what I wanted to address though. What I wanted to preface this whole thing is on the ranting hour with BC yesterday, we were talking about what's the difference between constructive criticism and unconstructive criticism. All right. And what I wanted to frame here is understanding both sides and how to benefit both sides. This is what we're trying to come with. And this is what we're trying to come with constructive criticism. Like, we're not saying, hey, give us all this shit for free. We're saying, Mark has a point, right? Like, you could milk your content creators and player base for free like these are the people who are most in touch with your community, right? They're the ones who play the most. They know what people want. Like, you could just collaborate them. As other people said, lots of games also have like satisfaction surveys,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like no, we're saying like we talked about all the good things DFFOO does. Now we're talking about like what do they not do compared like the bare minimum that other games do, right? Like, there is a disconnect. The biggest complaint I will have about DFFOO is it seems a little out of touch with its community. And let's
yeah.
be really real, all right? Regardless of how you think Vincent was received, on a PR level, that was a shit show.
Oh, that
That's
was a
one.
mess.
That's
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
The trivia anniversary trivia on Twitter, that was a shit show. People were fighting each other. They were making Reddit subs saying, "Why are you all so stupid? We're not going to get our rewards." That was a shit show. There are definitely things that they fucked up on that they could have done with like just paying a little closer to the attention, like let's super be real. And so we're saying from that point, what I agree with Mark when I said I don't think we're ever going to get a QA team that's unrealistic. What I agree with Mark is they had a 9-month heads up on this shit. Like Mark was saying, I agree. They made it slightly better. They could have made it a lot better. There could have been a lot more thought put into this. There was a lot of thought put into Sarah, kind of, sorta.
Yeah.
They said it was in the works in JP already, so they just slapped it on GL, which is fair. But like things like, okay, guys, this fight was built for 6-man co-ops, meaning we expect you to do the damage of 6 characters, which by the way doesn't make sense in the first place. I'm glad they scrapped that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like, what am I gonna do? Bring Lael and Tifa and then make
Yeah.
them both use all their skills? First of all, no one character is gonna run out of their skills anyway. Why the fuck
No,
would I do
right.
that?
In
Yeah,
chaos.
yeah,
Or
6-man
in
co-op,
Lufania.
dumbest fucking idea we've ever.
That was terrible.
So stupid. But anyways, the point is the event is scaled for, quote unquote scaled for, 6 characters worth of damage. All right.
Yeah.
I know they cut the waves down, but they
They
kept
were
the
all
tankiest waves.
trash waves,
Yeah,
right?
they were all trash waves. They kept the tankiest waves, the boss wave and Gilgamesh. And then they took away the 6-man ability. Not that the 6-man ability would have helped in the first place, mind you, but the point is this was already overtuned on HP as it was. They really could have tuned it down. Or have Gilgamesh drop more tokens.
Right.
Little things to make the grind a little less bearable, okay? If they're not willing to do this grind on their stream, which they won't, because they're going to be doing the Transcendence co-op, like, this is not a fun experience. Like, a couple hours in, if you look at the subreddit now, there's already like several threads on griefers. If you read like comments on videos of our content creators and on subreddit, they're like, everyone just solo the bells. Don't play with other people. What kind of co-op event do you not want the community to play with each other?
Yep.
Right? Like, and then like the RNG causes fights, like giving Gilgamesh 5 turns before he bounces. That's gonna make people fight. You know, this is
Well, and then when you don't get the full rewards for having 3 actual human beings, because at the very last turn of the last wave, the host disconnects, and so you end up just basically with solo rewards anyway. That's frustrating. That's something that should be fixed overall. But yeah, I mean, again, there is, and I like how you framed it. Their state of Lufania. Lufania is too hard. I mean, we just went on how we love Lufania where it is and how we like where the fights are. This month's been great. We like what they're doing with that. And then there's hey, this is how it can be better. And that's kind of what we're talking about. That's not, you can be positive and encouraging and also criticize and hope for more, and hope for better. Because again, we like this game. This isn't, hey, we're done with this game, so we're going to shit all over it because we don't like it anymore and we're mad. And that's not true, because we like the game and we're excited about the game. And the minute we don't like the game, I'll stop playing and won't do a podcast, because that won't be good for the community. It's not good to be part of it when you're not excited about it. I am excited about the future of the game. I hope the game continues on. I want it to make money. I want it to be successful. But yeah, when there's misfires, we're going to call it out, because that's what we do. Listen, listen to sports radio, believe me, and be a sports fan. The Cubs lost 11 games in a row. That's some shit. That's bullshit, right? That sucked real bad after we won for an entire month. There's something wrong there. And as sports fans, can't do anything about it. We're just screaming to the wind. But that you listen to sports radio, we're gonna fight about it. I love the Cubs. I went and saw one of those horrible games that they lost. So believe me, you can criticize something you love and still love it, because you want it to be better. You want it to be the best experience for as many people as possible, and you want it to continue on. And I want this game to continue on for a little bit. I haven't found a gacha like it. I haven't found a mobile game like it. And maybe there will be some other ones in the future, but right now it ticks all the boxes for me. And I'll get through this. Mina will get through this co-op. You'll get through this co-op. We'll have fun with it. We'll do some voice chats and just BS, and it will be done and whatever. And so it's not the worst thing. Thank God they fixed what they fixed, and it
It's a
wasn't
temporary
copy
pit
paste.
stop, but we can tell them how much we hate it, just like we told them how much we hate cursed artifacts in that
Yes.
way. Thank fucking God.
Yeah,
That's
that was a mess.
people told them they hated six-man co-op, rightfully so. That way, like, look, it's constructive because we're not saying the whole game is. In fact, I just said most of the game I super enjoy right now, but for this big of a fuck up, and this is just one part of the game, right? This is one temporary co-op.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. It's gonna pass. But we can tell them, hey, we don't want to see this shit in the future, just like we didn't want to see curse artifacts and six-man co-ops moving into the future, right? Like this is like, and so look, it's temporary. It's gonna pass. But touching on some subjects before, in case you want to move on, Mark, like Drew Sane has a great point, right? Like co-ops asking you to sit for 10 20
Yeah.
minutes at a time, like people complain about 20-minute Lufanias, but here's the reality of the Lufania fights. You can stop whenever you want.
Yeah.
I can put my phone to sleep if my boss walks in on me. I can fucking retry. I can, not pay attention and watch TV. No one's waiting on me or anything. Here is if anyone's internet is spotty and somebody disconnects, the whole thing goes to shit.
Yeah.
So everyone has to have good connection and be stable and not move around for the duration. Then you all have to constantly pay attention and wait on each other, and then you all and then you all have
And
go ahead.
if the argument on their end is, go do it with your friends and get on Discord, and that's what I said, get on Discord, do it on voice. This is a mobile game. We just want to be clear. This is a mobile game. I get up at 5:30 in the morning, do some things, and and then usually 6:37 I might have half an hour, 15 minutes to play this game. I'm not going downstairs, getting my headset on, getting in voice. Hey, can anybody co-op? Like, yeah, if I'm going to set up a raid in an MMO that I'm playing on my computer and like, hey, 7 o'clock's co-op time. This is a mobile game. I play it when I'm out and about. I play it when I have 15 minutes here and there. So yeah, I want a random co-op with people. It would be nice if that was achievable. And it's made worse because this is a launch focused co-op, so everything takes 3 times as long. It just takes so long.
Okay, but I think I'm talked out about the fucking co-op. But
It's great. Just
it's little missteps, as Mark said. We will call out anything we don't like. We will praise anything we like. Don't simp and tell them everything they do is great and their farts smell like roses. But don't also just shit on. I don't know. There's a balance, right? Like objectivity, constructivity, like constructive. Fuck it.
Constructive criticism. Hey, Theological Defo. Check out Theologica. Great runner. We already highlighted Theologica's TCC challenge run for this current Lufania. Got a redeemed a Q&A. Has anyone in your church ever come up to talk to you about Defo? Not in the current congregation that I serve, but there are some colleagues and people outside of the immediate congregation who are Final Fantasy fans, and so we've had conversations about it. So yes.
Yeah, the Max is asking, hey, this whole conversation has a minor flaw in it. One of the most popular questions every stream is asking for chaos co-ops. I don't want to I have a whole separate rant for that.
Yeah.
Stick around for the post show. I'm not going to try to drag this podcast. We need to wrap this up, but
yeah.
I have a whole separate fucking rant for that. But can we pray for better RNG? I think my misstep was listening to y'all about Lael, blanked out on tickets and no LD.
Oh no.
Oh, sorry.
Lael's great though. Go Gems. Come on. What are you saving for?
Lael's great. I don't think I hammered this up enough. I'm going to throw it in again. Like, Lael is a fantastic, all-around great character. I really like him. That's it.
I agree.
Anything else we want to cover before we call this?
Yeah. Any other topics you want to hit? this week we added extra topics. Of course, you can do podcast questions. We're not going to go through all the podcast questions. I'm probably going to delete some of the ones on there. We're moving forward with our discussion. We're going to try to be focusing on some things that are happening during the week. Obviously, like this co-op, there were a couple other things you saw throughout the show that we talked about. And so continue to give us your questions. We may select them, we may not. Doesn't mean we don't love you. But we're going to try to.
Show probably because you upload the post shows, right? Maybe we can just answer questions.
Oh yeah, we can answer questions
Yeah.
speed fire on that. So so stick around for the post show. We will end the official podcast here. Thank you all for listening. Moving forward, we got Kurisame's LC, Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 3, and the next community stream at the end of the month with hopefully a special announcement for some cool stuff moving forward. So this has been episode 158 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded July 15, 2021 for Mino Spellgood and Mark and Arrow, who's not with us today, but we'll be back next week. Thank you all for listening. Like, sub, ring the bell for notifications. Follow us and subscribe on Twitch. Rate us on whatever podcast app you're listening to. We appreciate all of you. TCC podcast.com, tccpodcast.com. Join our Discord. Follow us on social media. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.